You may have heard that some people have a fear of technology. Thanks to hard work from people like Kate and others, most people have pretty much put that aside. Apple Computer, when it came out, completely eliminated all the fear people had of the K-Pros and the Compacts and all the weird, bizarre things you said that were very unforgiving, and just your whole life you just blank out in front of you without any notice. Today, you don't even think about that sort of thing. But even though no one has a fear of technology, they're perfectly happy Snapchatting or FaceTime, whatever, still there's this amazing fear of getting up in front of people and speaking. And that's because when you get up in front of people and you see all those faces just looking back at you, you can feel like you're being hunted. And if you're an animal being hunted, you go through one of three different reactions: of freeze, fight, or flight. Now, when I first got up there many, many years ago, I went through all three reactions, depending upon where it was in my speech. When I first got up on stage, I saw all those eyes looking at me. My first reaction was to freeze and think maybe if I just don't move, maybe nobody will notice me. And then, as you can probably guess, I started thinking, wait a minute, they'll notice me once I start speaking. So the moment I started speaking, I switched to fight. I was ready to fight. It was a defensive fight. It wasn't very good, but it was a defensive fight. And the whole time I was thinking, nobody better sneak up on me, because you never know where action is going to happen in your audience. A riot can break out at any moment. Antifa, I'm ready for you. And the moment that speech was over, it was all about flight. Just bang, how quickly I can get off that stage. Now, being in Toastmasters, if you decided to go through Pathways, something you'll hear about in Toastmasters is they have things like vocal variety and gestures and getting to the point and those sort of things. So I still was learning about becoming a better speaker. But every speech I gave, I still had the same reaction of freeze, fight, flight. It just didn't go away. Year after year went by, and I just kept having that feeling of being in front of people. And I started thinking, well, maybe that's just normal. That's just the way it is. People get up on stage, they get nervous, they get scared. That's just the way it is. And I thought, wait a minute, there are people up on stage, they don't seem to be afraid, they don't seem to be scared. Why am I getting scared up there? What's so different about them? I thought, well, maybe you just eventually figure out, well, maybe I won't. What about that? What are you going to do then? And I thought, well, maybe I could talk to somebody or hear from somebody who knows, who's a good speaker, who knows what they're talking about. I thought, I'm going to find a good speaker. Make sense? I'm going to find a good speaker to become a better speaker. You're not talking about Barbies. Find a better speaker. So I find a good speaker called Craig Valentine. He'd just come out. He won the World Championship of Public Speaking, meaning you're talking about earlier, is that means that they had different contests, and he was the best speaker all over the world in Toastmasters for that particular contest, that particular day. But he's a pretty good speaker. I thought, okay, get his stuff. So I had DVDs and blogs and videos and all that kind of stuff. Just started kind of going through it. And then one day, Craig Valentine announced he's coming out with a book called World Class Speaking. He said on his postings, I'm coming out with a book called World Class Speaking that contain all of my speaking tips, tricks, techniques. I thought, gotta get that book. Gotta have that book in my hands. You ever that feeling you have to have a book in your hands? Just have to have that book? You know what I'm talking about, Kate. Yeah, in your hands. Like Harry Potter or some other book, just gotta have it. So that's what it was. I needed to get the book in my hands. So I started going to bookstores. Back then there were bookstores. I went to different bookstores, and one day I saw the book. There it was. And it was like the book spoke to me. There was a red trade paperback book with World Class Speaking in the side, written in white letters, and the book spoke to me. It said, Tim, I've answered all your speaking secrets. I said, book, what are the answers? I said, Tim, buy me and thou shalt find out. And I thought, well, what a book. So I bought the book, started reading. The book had something really interesting. It pointed out something that most people do on stage. It said most people, when they come up on stage, they think of it as a performance. Performance. The problem is although there's a little bit of moving back and forth, maybe some gestures, some hand movements, that sort of thing, there's really not too much you can do performing unless you know how to tap dance or yodel or juggle or play the banjo or something. Not too much you can do. So that's the problem. You're supposed to perform, but you can't perform. But the book pointed out that if you just create a conversation with your audience, then all the pressure goes away. It's not a big deal. You're just talking to people. You do that all the time. And it occurred to me, wait a minute, if I created a conversation with the audience, then my problems would probably go away. Because usually you don't freeze in a conversation. I mean, you don't meet your employees. You're going out there and talking and says, hey, how are you doing today, guys? Great to see you. Fantastic. Hey, ready to go? Let's go out there and make something happen. You don't freeze in a conversation. Same way you don't really have any situations of fight. Having a good conversation. Hey, how are things going? Hi. Nice to see you. Wonderful. Let's talk some more about that. Fighting doesn't really happen. And the same with flight. If you're having a good conversation, you don't suddenly get this urge to run away. You say, hi, how are you? Yeah, let's talk some more about that. Great, tell me more. Bam, you're gone. Doesn't work like that. So I thought, okay, I'll do a conversation. And started doing that. And it's like creating a conversation with my audience. My nervousness went down, the freezing, the fighting, the flighting, all that just went away because it didn't make any sense. And I wasn't scared anymore. Because it wasn't about me, it was about my audience, what they had to gain, what they had to learn. That was the whole focus. You can have the same thing happen to yourself too. If you just take the focus away from performing, unless you're good at performance, in which case I recommend, go singing, go on a world tour. Don't bother with speaking, you're too good for that. But for the rest of you, just have that conversation with the audience. Nervousness goes down, concentration goes up, audience interest goes up, and the whole thing becomes much more natural, much easier, much simpler on stage. So you really want to become a better speaker. You want to get over your fear. Can't help with technology, Kate can help you with that. Fear of speaking. All you got to remember to do is create a conversation with your audience.
Okay, we are flying through this meeting.